And welcome to Illini Drive. It is Wednesday, September 11th. Of course, a day 18 years ago, the attacks on 9/11 in New York. Our thoughts go out to all the families affected during this difficult day. Myself, Nathan DeHaan, here with Jake Hasan, Brendyn Jones, Alex Aguilera. And today's been a good day. Been a pretty hot day. I don't know. I mean, we're all kind of quiet here, just sort of mulling things over, doing our thing. And yeah, so how's everyone doing? Anybody got anything interesting? Any news?
It's far too hot.
It is really hot outside.
Far too hot out.
And it's supposed to be like this for like that next week.
Yep.
Is it really?
Yep.
I thought this was like, I thought we were like trending down.
And I gotta be
That's what
outside
it's
for that
supposed to be.
football game for like 3 hours.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
I'm gonna be chilling in the press box,
All right, good for you, Nate.
wishing you the best.
So rude.
Cooler weather. Yeah, speaking of the football game, Illinois plays a football game today. The 2-0 Fighting Illini host the 1-1 Eastern Michigan Eagles. The game is a noon game on Big Ten Network. How much are we expecting to see Reggie Corbin in this game? Because there's obviously been a lot of holding out, and he is healthy. We know this, but also maybe sort of just not wanting to play him in some of the earlier competitions. How much we expect to see Reggie Corbin in an Eastern Michigan game that isn't a cakewalk?
I think it definitely depends on how the first half goes. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play that first half. But if, obviously, this is the hardest of the first 3 games. So if it comes down to it in the second half and he's capable to play, I expect him to play.
A lot?
Not a lot, but if we need, a new person to come in there and rush the ball, I think we will see him.
It's kind of that scenario where if we really need him out there, he'll play. But if not, then you wouldn't expect to see him. Is that kind of like that's the vibe I'm getting from you guys?
That's my
Or at least
vibe.
that's your vibe? Okay.
I think it's
'Cause you guys are
reckless
like-
to not play him.
It's reckless to not play him.
I think it's reckless to not play him.
Okay.
Because he didn't play at all against UConn. He barely played against Akron.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's reckless to have your best player not play at all in the last game when you're going to have Nebraska on Saturday night, a team that really beat you up last year. I think you need him in the best game shape possible.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. It bothers me that we haven't seen him a lot, and I know that he's healthy, and and whatever reason, but man, like you just want to see your best player, getting those touches,
Right.
just racking up the yards, racking up the touchdowns against some of these weaker opponents, so that when it comes around to not necessarily Eastern Michigan, but Big Ten play, you like you said, you have game reps, you have that. Already figured out.
Even just like chemistry with Brandon Peters and the offensive line. Like, that's a huge thing, especially if the running game's going to be a big part of your offensive attack this year. You need to have that ready.
Yeah.
I think we see him for at least 2.5 quarters.
Okay.
So all the first half.
How many series?
How many series?
Because he only did the one against Akron, and then he sat the rest, and that felt like okay, we're gonna drum this team a well.
I mean, how many series are any normal? Like, I think he plays. I think no matter what the score, I think he plays the entire first half, and depending on how the game is going, I would say he plays probably halfway through the third as well.
Okay, and as the primary back, bringing in Dre Brown or Ravon Bonner on like every other possession, you don't think happens?
I think you would do it how you're planning to do it against Nebraska.
Okay,
Like, I think because he hasn't played at all. He didn't play at all against UConn. Like, you need to start getting these reps in, the chemistry in.
yeah.
Reckless.
I definitely understand where you guys are coming from, but with how
Say
the
too.
Illini have dealt with injuries over the summer and even into the first couple weeks of the season, I don't blame the coaching staff for them being hesitant to put in Reggie Corbin.
Yeah. I mean, as we've talked about, I want to see him more just because I want to be reminded, like, oh yeah, here we have one of the most dynamic runners in the Big Ten.
So you think they're being a little too overly cautious?
I'm just a big believer in game reps and in that sort of chemistry that you build, on Saturday mornings, doing it against other people and not in practice.
I absolutely agree with that.
All right.
What are we expecting? What are we looking for from the defense in this game? Because the defense has been. It's been an improvement. It's obviously some cupcake games, but there's also been times that the defense has sort of looked shaky again. This is going to be sort of I was looking at the numbers. Eastern Michigan's offense is sort of like Illinois' if Reggie Corbin was was playing as the primary back, because they've got their one running back and then their passing offense. Mike Glass is 54 for 75 for 525 yards and 5 touchdowns so far. So, what are we expecting to see from this defense against an Eastern Michigan team that is a lot better than the UConn and Akron offenses that you've played?
I want it to be a crisper game, as in less penalties. Really just that, because that's really been the big issue the last 2 games. But I just want to see it crisp. I just want to see the play calls executed. I just want to see things moving at a good pace. Because, again, this comes down to Nebraska, when it really matters, and starting conference play at least strong. Like, if you don't win, at least not looking sloppy and like you didn't even deserve to be out there. And as on a Saturday night especially.
I definitely expect the defensive line to step up how they've been doing these past couple games, especially Batiku Jr. I want to see him have a big game, just to kind of prove that this wasn't just an Akron and UConn thing. This is something that he can sustain throughout the season. Hopefully, I think the secondary can shut down some of those passes that we've seen a little more. But yeah.
It's like my thing. Yeah, I was going to say the secondary. Because it looks like Eastern Michigan's a very pass-heavy team. They only had like 23 carries against Kentucky in their last game.
Their leading rusher has 94 yards in a year. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's not a lot. The way they distribute the ball is what made me think of more Illinois' offense. Eastern Michigan just lost to Kentucky 17-38 in Lexington. So I don't know where you would rank Kentucky as a team compared to Illinois as a team, because Kentucky sort of overachieved last season, and Josh Allen was, a stud, and rightfully so, went in the first round of the NFL draft. So I don't know. That's sort of like a benchmark that they're at right now. I feel like I'm expecting something similar for the score of this game. I feel like I guess we can do predictions, but I feel like I'm kind of in this, like, I don't know, 28-17 Illinois win is what I'll start with.
I would expect, if Corbin plays, it's going to be higher scoring than that.
Okay.
I think.
I expect the offense to have some difficulty because they haven't played a defense. I expect the first half to sort of be the first half to kind of figure out.
I think that's fair.
What works, what doesn't.
I'll go 35-20. I think. Yeah, especially if Corbin plays. Could be even higher if he plays longer.
Sure.
I'm not as confident as you guys with just how much they're going to score. As we said, like, this is a tier up of defense and offense that the Illini are facing. But
and the offense is tailored to score a lot of points. I mean, like, and we all know this, but I also think the scoring comes down a little bit from what we've seen.
Yeah. So. I think the defense is still going to step up, though. I think it'll be like 24-13.
Okay.
Pretty low scoring match against these two teams, I think.
Alex, you gonna predict a loss? Maybe. Come on, we're better than Eastern Michigan, aren't we?
Yeah. I mean,
what still gives you pause?
Yeah. See, now I think he does just a bit. Like, come on, man.
Right? No. I don't. I mean, honestly, what Jake mentioned, like the secondary and penalties, like that really rubs me wrong. And then especially with a pass-heavy team like Eastern Michigan, I feel like this could be a scenario where the defense just gives up, free yards, and Eastern Michigan just takes advantage of that in the air. So, you know what? I'll give the Illini the win, but it isn't going to be by a lot. I say they win like 28-21. I think it'll be a little bit of a shootout, but they just edge Eastern Michigan out. But
what is still giving you? Is it just the penalties? What still sort of prevents you from thinking that this team is really going to take care of Eastern Michigan?
I guess I need the defense to play like a really, I think what Jake said, like a crisp, clean game, like a full, 4 quarters where I'm just like, okay, overall, like they played really well. Sure. Maybe a penalty here and there, whatever. But I just haven't seen a game from the defense where I'm just like convinced, like, okay, yeah, they're pretty solid. as opposed to like the offense where, 2 games out, they played the way they should have against, Akron and UConn. I just haven't really seen that from the defense yet.
Yeah, as we've said, sort of a tune-up game for the Big Ten season. Eastern Michigan isn't really a name. They're not, when you look at Illinois' resume at the end of the year, it's not like you're going to be like, oh, that Eastern Michigan game is a really, impressive win, but it's a necessary win. Eastern Michigan's defense does turn the ball over. They've forced 6 turnovers through their first 2 games. Illinois has done like about 4 turnovers.
Sounds right.
Hasan and D.D. Harding had the interception. And so they've turned the ball over against other teams more so than Illinois has. What concerns me, like you said, is the passing. I mean, we saw in Akron sort of passing over the middle. There was gaps, and there's things that need to improve. Do you think that a defensive coordinator is needed on this? I know this is kind of a weird sort of setup, but because Lovie Smith, is the defensive-minded head coach, but maybe him focusing on that maybe takes away from the whole thing. Do you think that maybe next year Lovie will look to have a defensive coordinator, or are you still sort of trying to feel out, how this look is right now? Anybody?
I think it's too much because I think you definitely have to try and stick with it unless someone like really, really good who you really, really like becomes available. Because this defense has gone through so many changes already. And then when you're kind of starting to get some consistency with having Lovie as your defensive coordinator, especially for those defensive guys, you're finally starting to have some consistency on the coaching staff of the defensive staff. And then to remove the coordinator again, who's going to want to, and bring in a new one, who's going to want to bring in his own guys and bring in his own methods and change all this stuff. Because a lot of these defensive guys are going to be here for the next 2-3 years. Like even the veterans are going to be here for another 2 years after this. It just seems unnecessary to do that. I think if it's working, you stick with it. And even if it is working, like someone amazing has, like someone from like LSU or like their defensive coordinator has to become available or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. This is obviously the year that, we all expect. It's like either like something improves or like now everything's in question. So if they meet their expectations, even if they don't have a great defense, I think Lovie should still be, at the helm of that defense. That's what he does best. And we've seen like moments where it's looked really good, especially in that front defensive line. So yeah, I don't really think that they need that's not an area that they need to address this offseason unless something like drastic happens and they lose like multiple games by like 30 points or something. But
the wildest thing looking at Illinois' statistics right now is that their leading rusher is Jakari Norwood with 65 yards.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
Like, how much this team runs the ball, how much they ran it against Akron, and for Jakari Norwood to have 65 yards to be the team's leading rusher. I mean, granted, there's about 4 guys right there that are sitting at around 50.
Well, it's also like even Dre Brown's probably your next guy up. He's probably your RB2. Like, he did well against Akron, so why even risk him either? Like, you keep him and Reggie Corbin safe because you're probably going to try and do somewhat of a 1-2 punch with them. Like, if Corbin needs a breather, like Dre Brown comes in, you're not getting any rest because Dre Brown's really good as well.
You think Dre Brown's the 2-punch instead of Ravon Bonner? I mean, Bonner's sort of a goal line guy.
I think Bonner's your goal line guy, but I think as far as like a 1-2 punch goes, like I think in terms of what they're going to want to do as far as like substitutions as for series or something or certain plays, I think it'll be Dre Brown.
Okay. Yeah. Ravon Bonner looked good. Like,
he did.
Rather than, he looked like originally, I think people looked at him as sort of like the 3rd and 1, sort of running it between the tackles, goal line, if you're running it up the middle. But in open space, he looked a lot better than I think a lot of people anticipated in the 2 games. And Brandon Peters has been great running the ball. I don't really know what else to say about this Illinois game. This is the first game that I feel like I can actually have, my knee-jerk reactions after the game are going to have some sort of substance to be sitting in, rather than, Akron, you score in your first 4 possessions. This offense is, going to take us to the Rose Bowl or whatever. I mean, like, that's what it looks like. But this coming game, finally I'll be able to say, like, okay, like, here's the deal. I love the distribution that Peters has been able to do with the wide receivers. I mean, Ricky Smalling has 11 receptions. Sydney has 7 receptions. Good to see, some of the transfers and everybody else getting involved. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this Eastern Michigan game a lot for the reason that I'm gonna have answers to questions that I might still have, rather than whatever. Because then it's Big Ten football. Because then it's
Right.
Nebraska under the lights.
And
It'll
that's
say a
kind of
lot.
what I'm saying. Like this game needs to answer more questions than make more.
Yeah.
Which we've had questions after each game so far.
Who are you really looking for to step up, or do you have one person on the roster that maybe you're looking for more of, or that you expect to have a big game, or who's the guy that you are sort of keying in as maybe an X factor, or whatever you want to say, one individual player?
Well, not Ricky Smalling. Goodness,
Reggie Corbin?
gracious, thank you. Reggie Corbin plays.
Names are hard.
They're so hard. If Reggie Corbin plays, I expect him to have a huge game, and obviously, like that would, show us as people who watch the Illini that he did need, or he didn't necessarily need to sit out, but it was good for him to make sure he was healthy, and then it'll give them more confidence going into Nebraska, seeing that they have not only Reggie Corbin who'd be able to rush the ball, but they have 2 or 3 other guys that they can put in there that have those game reps and are just as confident.
I think that we've seen a lot from the defense, but I would still like to see more from the secondary. I would like to see more from like Tony Adams, Nate Hobbs, like these guys kind of see, like we talked about earlier, there was space up the middle and kind of towards the back of the secondary. Like I'd like to see those holes kind of closed up, the schemes kind of tightened up a little more, the coverage tightened up a little more. And just see, like you said, going into Nebraska, Adrian Martinez is nothing to mess with. So I'd like to see the secondary especially be really tight, play really efficiently.
This may be kind of a bland take, but I'm going to say Brandon Peters. I think just if he has another really good outing, I think, just sort of the quarterback situation, that's something we don't have to worry about. Just to know that he's had 3 good outings, just to start off the season. We're like, okay, that's one less thing to worry about. This is a quarterback that we can trust, now and moving forward. So I think just another solid game from Brandon Peters is going to do wonders from him.
Yeah, I'm gonna sort of the trend to stick with the defensive back. Nate Hobbs, Kirby Joseph, or Tony Adams. Really, all 3 of them. I mean, I just want to be confident in the secondary. I want to be able to know that that the improvements are being made and that the questions are being heard and, like you guys said, answered. Which is hopefully what this game is all about. Because if we come around again on Monday and Peters has a bad game or somebody goes down, I mean that secondary is already so thin too. So really gonna have to keep an eye on that. With that though, we're gonna take our first break of the show. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more national news, and we'll keep the show rolling. So stick with us. And welcome back to Illini Drive. We just finished talking a little bit of Illinois football as they take on Eastern Michigan this weekend. Make sure to tune in or buy tickets at the game. Right now, I think there's like $16, $20 tickets, so really easy game to go to.
Not bad.
Would be nice to see the stadium a little bit more full than it was for Akron because that was the opener and it was pretty thin.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday on the show, Alex had some breaking news that I kind of undermined and made like, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal. But then it turned out to be a big enough deal. Christian Yelich fouls a ball off of his kneecap, shatters his kneecap, is out for the year with that broken kneecap. And that's tough for a player that's been playing really well this entire season and for a team that is in the wild card race. Can the Brewers still get a wild card spot?
Could they? Yes. Will they? Probably not.
Yeah, and I'll stick with the will they. Why won't they? I mean, Jake, you're one of the most in tune baseball people I know. Why are the Brewers? I mean, I look at their lineup and I don't fear anyone.
I mean, there's people that are good in that lineup, but like you said, there's not a reigning MVP. Like, Keston Hiura's good. Yeah, Yasmani Grandel's good. Lorenzo Cain, Mike Moustakas. Yeah, these are good guys, but you can get these guys out. Christian Yelich, you basically couldn't get him out. Like, it was almost impossible. And when he was hitting you hard. Doubles, triples, homers. Like, it was just endless.
He just kickstarted that offense.
Right. And so when you take that out, like, now there's no one protecting anybody. They're like, let's say Moustakas with his 30-something home runs is behind Yelich, well, now they can just go at Moustakas because they don't have to face Yelich next. There's nothing to fear in that lineup kind of anymore. So, yeah, they're a good team, and they'll probably stay in it. And they do, shout out Jason, he did say they have a really easy schedule, and they do. They have the 2 games against the Marlins. Woo. Cardinals, though, in first place. They have a 3-game set against them. But then they get the Padres, the Pirates, and the Reds, and then the Rockies to end. Yeah. So you get your last 4 series are all against teams that are in 3rd or 4th place in their division. So that is helpful. But the thing is, I still think that they're only 1 game out, but they're behind the Cubs. And then, I still think the Cubs are a better team. Even though it is 1 game, I think it's more likely that someone like Arizona or Philadelphia jumps them.
I feel like Milwaukee's bullpen hasn't really been like...
It hasn't been as good.
Right.
You've been able to touch them more. You've been able to hit them a lot more, but... And their starting pitching's not good either, though. Like, they're just because Yelich was what was making that pitching staff acceptable. Because if the pitching staff gave up 4 runs, somehow, some way, Yelich and the guys around him were going to get you 5. And Yelich would probably be responsible for at least 2 or 3 of those, if not all of them. And without that run production, where are the runs? Like, he had 44 home runs and 97 RBI. Like, how do you replace that in the stretch run when you're trying to secure a wild card spot?
Yeah, it really stinks for the Brewers, who are one of the hottest teams in baseball, other than the Rays. The Rays are 9-1 of their last 10. The Brewers are 8-2. Yeah, Jake's a Rays stan.
I mean, I've been trying to tell people since day one that the Rays were going to be good.
You have. I was there for opening day in this very studio a few months ago when I was wide-eyed when Jake said that he wouldn't be surprised if the Rays made some noise, and they are. They're in the wild card for the AL.
I'm pretty sure I said more than 90 games too, and they've won 87 already. So
yeah.
Geez,
I mean, they won 90 last year. I mean, yeah, people sleep on them Rays.
It's crazy looking that the Red Sox 76 and 69 would be like 1 game back of the wild card in the NL, and instead they're just so out of it.
They're just like 8 or 9 games
and they've
back.
Just fired their president of baseball operations.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to trade Mookie Betts, and JD Martinez is probably going to opt out.
I've heard White Sox is a destination for some of those. Do you see any truth to that?
It depends on if the White Sox are willing to give anything up.
They got a lot of money.
Yeah, but Betts isn't. You're saying as a free agent or as a trade destination?
Well, I've heard I think it was a Sox fan that was telling me this, but I mean, and they thought they were getting Machado, but they like JD Martinez, Mookie Betts, and they talked about starting pitcher that's going to be a free agent. Is it Garrett Cole?
Garrett Cole, yeah.
Yeah, they talked about throwing their money at him.
Well, Betts isn't a free agent for another year.
Okay, so that would have to be a trade,
right? But Martinez,
and the Sox have trade pieces to trade,
do, but it depends on if they're because think of it this way for the White Sox. You're expecting next year to be like the year you kind of return to contention, maybe be in contention for a wild card spot, but you're not really expecting to do a whole lot.
They're kind of a year out before they actually
So like next year's year when you win 83 games probably. That's what you're hoping for if you're the White Sox. And then the next year is when you're hoping you're competing for a division crown and going for a World Series. Then why don't you sign Mookie Betts after that? Say, hey, look what we just did. We just went from 70-something wins to 84, 85, and we got more guys on the way. Sign with us. And let's say they do sign Garrett Cole this year, because I think that's a very real possibility.
They also need to bring up Luis Robert. But
I mean, service time. They're not going to do that. But.
That pitching would be nasty with Garrett Cole and Giolito, and if Cease pans out the way that they're expecting.
And, I mean, Carlos Rodon coming back, too. He's been hurt this year with Tommy John.
It's gonna be fun to watch that Crosstown Classic be 2 really good teams. And speaking of my Northsiders, are they for sure fighting for the wild card? Because they've got to go like 15-5 and the Cardinals have to have like a 500 record for them to pass them up.
Yeah, I think Isaac did the numbers. It was like the Cardinals have to be 15-14, and the Cubs have to be like 19 and 12 or something.
Yeah, and I think there's less now. I think I saw something that if the Cardinals have a 500 record, the Cubs are going to have to win 14 of their last, whether I think it's 19 or 20.
Yeah,
that remains.
It's brutal.
But gotta have to play the hottest baseball that they've played, in the decade. That includes the World Series
half
win.
of those games against the Cardinals too.
Yeah. So and that's where it's crazy.
Three against the Cardinals next week at Wrigley, and then 4 to close out at Busch.
I mean, it's a scenario where it could definitely flip, but the likelihood of that, I don't.
Yeah, it would have to be dominating the team that's first in the division, and that's what's so great about both of these, those two series at the end of the year. I hopped off of the Yelich story too quickly. I had a question I wanted to ask. Who is your guys' NL MVP?
Bellinger.
Because it's a race between Bellinger, Rendon, Yelich, and Pete Alonso.
Pete Alonso won't get it because the Mets are so bad.
That's fair. Leads everybody in home runs.
If they kept it up and been in the playoffs, he would have a real chance. But it's going to be Bellinger.
Yeah. A sneaky guy I kind of had was Acuna, but, Bellinger's just been... Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it was going to be between Yelich and Bellinger, and I think just now that Yelich is out, it just goes to Bellinger. The Dodgers are, the best team in baseball. They've already clinched the division. It's just kind of...
It's crazy.
Yeah.
They clinched it last night on September 10th.
Right.
They clinched the division.
So it's kind of... I don't really see anybody else unless Rendon just decides to go nuts and throw up stupid numbers to end the year. I don't really see anyone else catching up to Bellinger besides Yelich, but we already...
Well, Rendon's also not marketed as well. Because Bellinger we've
not.
been hearing since the beginning. Since the beginning of the season,
People
when he
sleep
was
on that
hitting
and Jesus.
when he was hitting 400 in
That's what they-
June.
Mm-hmm.
That was all anybody could talk about. And now I think Rendon will come in second place, and it should be a lot closer than it is because their numbers are kind of weirdly similar in a lot of aspects, but also it's going to be Bellinger.
Yeah.
And nobody ever votes for anybody from Washington unless you have a stupid year by yourself like Bryce Harper did.
Right.
You're a big Pete Alonso guy, aren't you?
I love Pete Alonso. I think he's awesome, and I can't wait for him to hit 50 home runs this year as a rookie. But if the Mets were better, he'd get MVP votes.
Yeah,
he might still, but
and it was for a little bit, the Mets had us going there after the All-Star break.
and after they
going.
trade for Stroman.
Man, that Stroman trade was so weird. Everybody was like, why?
Yeah, I thought you were trying to lose.
Right. Man, I was talking to one of my buddies. He's a Mets fan. I'm like, dude, how do you feel about this? And he's like, I don't hate Marcus Stroman. He's like, I'm who wouldn't like to get Marcus Stroman? But at the same time, he's like, why? And I was just like, dude, I don't.
It
I'm
reminds
asking you, and you're asking me why.
it reminds me of the Pirates trade for Chris Archer.
Yeah.
It's a team
Chris
that
Archer
just
stinks.
and now he does. And
He stunk for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
he had was it just one good year in Tampa Bay, and they thought he was the second coming.
Pretty much.
Yep.
But in a similar way, where it was a
Good for the
team that you
Rays.
weren't expecting to go out and get, make trades at the trade deadline, and all of a sudden it's the Pirates, and at that time they were third in the NL, Central, maybe they could make some noise. They had some pieces, and then just the floor fell out after the trade. And now this year, Pirates might not get 70 wins, so things you got to be careful with. You got to be careful with these trades and other things like that. On the MVP talk, who's winning the AL MVP? It's Mike Trout, right?
Yeah.
Should they just rename the award?
Also, does anyone want some back to the NL MVP numbers just real quick? Does anybody want to hear some numbers on that?
I would like to. I was trying to find graphics. I would like numbers.
No, I just made a list on Fangraphs. It's good.
Oh, good for you.
Okay, so Cody
This is why
Bellinger.
we pay you the big bucks.
Yep, definitely. Cody Bellinger hitting 306. Anthony Rendon hitting 335. Cody Bellinger
I thought
on
batting
base
average
percentage.
didn't matter anymore,
Yeah.
Jake.
I'm reading off a list. I'm reading their slash line. I'll
reading
get to
off a list.
I'll get to the other stuff. On base percentage, Cody Bellinger 410, Anthony Rendon 417. Slugging percentage, Cody Bellinger 639, Anthony Rendon 628. WAR, Cody Bellinger 7.2, Anthony Rendon 6.8. Home runs 44 to 32 in favor of Bellinger. RBI 106 to 114 in favor of Rendon. Stolen bases 11 to 3. OPS, quick maths, both over 1,000 easily. It's very close, percentage points. Bellinger's at 149, and Rendon is at 145.
It surprises me that the slugging is so close.
0.04 is the OPS. Is that by how far?
Wow.
off?
It surprises me that the slugging is so close with Bellinger with so many more home runs.
Rendon has played less games though.
Okay. Okay. Am I mistaken in thinking that he was a little hurt, banged up at the beginning of the year?
Rendon, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That is correct.
And Bellinger's been all good to go, all systems go.
Pretty
all
much.
year.
I think he had one stint on a disabled list, but
Okay.
actually no. No, he's
he's
played
been-
141 games. So
Yeah, I was like, he's been healthy.
Yeah.
That is a lot closer than, I mean, when you talk about, the batting average is almost the farthest,
Right, yeah.
the furthest
Right.
thing.
I mean, on base percentage and slugging, they're this close. WAR, they're divided by 0.4. OPS, they're within percentage points. The RBI too. Rendon has the lead there.
So, what if Bellinger just wasn't on the Dodgers? Say he was sort of like on a mid-market team like the Nationals, something like that. I mean, obviously not on the Nationals, but just
Let's say he's on the Twins.
What-
okay,
That's,
I mean, let's
I
just say
feel
it
like-
was flipped.
or just flipped.
Like, let's say
Okay.
Rendon was on the Dodgers. I still think it'd be Bellinger just because he has more of like the highlight type of plays, and like you just see him more. And like when he hits home runs, like he hits home runs, and when he's throwing people out from right field at 100 miles an hour, like you see that. Rendon's a very quiet player, and it's not that we haven't seen quiet players win it before. I mean, Mike Trout should win it almost every year, and he's the quietest guy in the league. But I just think what Bellinger has done, because you also think of it this way. Rendon plays one position, Bellinger plays first, all three outfield spots. Like, he's the key part of your lineup. Like, the Nationals have done all right with Rendon out of the lineup every now and then. So, I mean, because they still have, like, Juan Soto. And not to say the Dodgers don't have their stars, but
I have numbers for you guys. His batting average is 291. His OBP is 438. His slugging is 645. His OPS is 1083. He's Mike Trout.
Yeah.
His WAR is 8.1. He just dominates all the time. Is Mike? Do you guys think? Okay, well, let's do this. Is Mike Trout the best baseball player ever
he's going to be.
right now?
Right now,
Well, not like no accolades or anything. You
if he
are
retired today.
not even if he retired today. I'm talking like at their peak, at every player's peak. Is Mike Trout the best player of all time?
like at their prime.
Like you're fielding everybody that has ever played baseball. You could field whatever team that you want, and you get everybody in their prime. Is Mike Trout your center fielder? No question, and also the best player on that team.
Yes.
I think so.
I mean, I've always been one of those guys where it's like I wait, like I want to see until once he's done, then I make that decision. But it's at the same time, it's really hard to argue. Like
No,
Trout's
it's
just really good.
He's been an all-star every year he's been in the league.
Yeah, he's so good.
I mean, he almost won the MVP in his rookie year. The only thing that stopped him was a literal triple crown
Yeah, it
winner.
was
Something
Right.
that
Miguel
happens
Cabrera.
every 20 years.
Right.
If not longer.
2-time MVP, 8-time All-Star, 2-time All-Star MVP, Rookie of the Year, 6-time Silver Slugger, and what is
The crazy part is he should have more MVPs. He should have at least 4, this one being 5.
It's voter fatigue for sure.
Because, yeah,
Right.
exactly. Because then you're like, all right, well, we can't vote for Trout again. All right, Josh Donaldson. Trout wins it. All right, we can't do Trout again. Mookie Betts.
Every year.
It's insane.
His rookie year, he was second. His next year, he was second in MVP voting. He won it in his third year. He was second MVP voting his fourth year. He won it again in his fifth year. He was fourth because he had some injury troubles.
He did get hurt that year.
And then he was second last year. Who won last year? Mookie Betts?
Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
Year before that.
Did he deserve it
You're,
over
Yeah.
Mike Trout?
I mean, Mookie Betts had a really good year, and he was on a championship team. That helps. What also hurts Trout is that the Angels stink.
all right.
Trout's career OPS is exactly 1,000.
Wait,
Career.
his career?
Career OPS is
Career.
exactly 1,000.
Man,
That's crazy.
His career batting out. His career slash is 305, 419 OBP, and 581 slugging.
Mike Trout's just an enigma.
He is.
He's so good.
Jeez, he's so
I
good.
really
and
need
just-
the Angels to sign Garrett Cole and maybe even Anthony Rendon if they want to put the money down. Like, please, for
put
the
him on a good team.
Love of God, give him a good team.
Has he ever been in the playoffs?
Once, and I think it was 20.
What, his rookie year or something like that?
Literally, it was his first or second year.
When the Angels were kind of decent.
Yeah.
After they got Pujols? Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Wow.
And then they went ahead and like dumped a whole bunch of money on like Josh Hamilton.
What? C.J. Wilson. What?
Yeah.
All right.
Lighting money on fire.
Yeah.
Matt
Free-
Harvey this past year.
It's funny. I
Oh,
want to say
yeah.
free Mike Trout, but he signed a $400 million deal to
That was
finish his career there.
That was his decision.
It was.
That was his decision.
Quiet little Mike Trout just upped Bryce Harper and Machado's numbers. I thought that was so funny.
Oh,
Bryce
yeah.
Harper was the highest paid baseball player and for like a day after this entire saga and everything in the offseason. One day. And then Mike Trout just takes over. All right.
All right, I was wrong. 2014 was the last time.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh,
that
that
was
was
when he
the
won his
Royals.
first MVP.
That was when the Royals were made their first run to the World Series. No. Yes. No.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Giants beat them, and then they faced again in 15 in the
Yep.
Rose run that year.
Thank you, Alex.
No problem.
Thank you, Alex. All right, we're gonna stop talking Mike Trout and the Angels. We're gonna do something fun when we come back, so stick around and find out what that is. We'll see you soon. Cliffhanger. I like what you did there because it felt like I had intro music for a little bit.
Yeah, man.
It's something that I've been really wanting to do is get an intro for this show.
Got you.
Thank you for that, Alex.
Ooh, problem.
We have breaking news.
Oh, do we?
California passed the bill to pay college athletes
Oh, really?
to profit from their name. So California had a law on the floor of their state senate and house that would allow athletes to profit off their name.
Ooh.
And the NCAA was like, "No, you can't pass this. Like you can't do this," and it passed.
So now the NCAA
So now
has to be forced into it, or like
in California now, athletes can sign autographs, they can like make money. So like, let's say game day spirit. So now like a portion of those like jersey
Jerseys.
sales, they can make money off that from their names.
So everybody's going to UCLA, USC.
Yeah.
All the California schools.
this is big for the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's crazy.
they've been on that. They've been on a slump for a while. I mean, we didn't talk about it on this show, but people said Oregon was the only team that had the chance of making the college football playoff, and that was if they beat Auburn, just because the Pac-12's weak enough on its own that the resumes don't look very good if you win the Pac-12, even if you're a 11-1 team or a 10-2 team with some impressive wins. So,
Man, the California Institute of Technology is gonna get a lot of recruits now.
who's gonna get it? What'd you?
So the California Institute of Technology is about to get so many recruits.
I don't know what I heard.
I couldn't have asked for a better reaction. Just silence and then.
Me and Brendyn were both like,
I was like, wait,
I'm like,
what?
is he trying to make like some Silicon Valley joke? Like, what's
Nope.
he trying to say? Like,
No, but seriously, like think about Stanford, USC, UCLA, Cal. Who else am I thinking of? Like San Diego State's usually gets a decent recruits. Like that's kind of crazy.
Nah,
I need
Good
to
for athletes though. They deserve that.
of course.
Yeah.
I need to read into it because does it just apply to students that go to school in California or like I don't know, like say for instance,
Well, right now it's only in California. It was a California state law.
right? But like say for instance like
It was unanimous.
NCAA 20 or 21 comes out next year and it's like produced in California. Does that have any? You know what I mean?
You're trying to get the video game back.
I'm trying to get the video game.
Right.
I'm trying to get.
If you're a video game in California, though, you should absolutely try and make this, though, because you'll get so much money from that. And then the athletes will get money, too.
And where's EA's headquarters at? 'Cause
Yeah,
they had the game.
I'm about to email them.
I got an idea.
So bill passed. California would allow college athletes to earn money from the use of their names, images, and likenesses under a bill passed by the state legislature on Monday.
Yo,
So all the governor.
EA's headquarters is in California.
Wow.
Scheming.
So the only thing that's left is the
boy.
governor has to approve it, which I don't see why he wouldn't.
Yeah. Does this start a wave?
It has to, right?
Yeah.
California,
Yeah.
like because then all the other schools, if we start seeing a backlash of recruits going to California for football, basketball, whatever, all these other schools are gonna be like, come on, we need to step up. Like we're losing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think it'll follow suit.
And I mean, like you guys have said, I think this is recruiting so much. Like that's why college are going to push for it because the Alabamas and the Georgias and the Clemsons of the world are going to look at their legislation.
I mean,
and be
just
like,
think about Illinois.
Yeah.
I mean, think of it in an Illinois scope. Like, this is a huge public university. Like, the state's already making a ton of money off of it. Like, I'm sure they could do some kind of agreement where, like, there's even more of, like, the revenue from whatever that goes to the state, like, some kind of, and then you give the athletes money, too. Like, and then that would help, again, like, if Illinois is one of the first out in this, like, not out, but in on it, I should say, rather. Like, that would help, like, you're a rebuilding program.
Yeah.
That's going to get a lot of 18-year-old kids to come to your school.
You're in the middle.
That's
You're in
crazy.
between St. Louis and Chicago.
39 to nothing. It was unanimous.
That's crazy.
The assembly
unanimous. That surprises me.
Yeah.
Unanimous.
So
As progressive as it is, I wasn't sure it'd be everyone in agreement that
39 nothing in their Senate, and then 73 to nothing in their Assembly. I guess which is their
Oh, man.
House.
That just means the governor has to pass it, right?
At this point, yeah. I mean, I hope so.
I hope so.
The NCAA is looking into action to call it unconstitutional because the NCAA is the worst.
Yeah.
Why do they suck so much?
No.
That's just such a. I mean, that's a good question.
Like-
Like you have the opportunity to be cool, and you just
It's crazy that this passes and the NCAA is like, oh, like we need to stop this. Like here's a ton of people that are uninvolved in collegiate athletics in their entirety, and they all say oh yeah, they should definitely benefit off of this, and the NCAA just like playing like their fiddle. Just I know we want the players to make as much money for us as possible.
Yeah.
So,
I think
It's infuriating.
it's just crazy. Oh, Jake, go ahead.
Well, California senators said like, say it's unconstitutional. Like, take it to the Supreme Court. We promise you, we've checked every single box.
oh man.
They're ready. But like, it's crazy that the NCAA still goes against it. I mean, in football, I guess, yeah, because, the players have to be there 3 years, and it's like a longer process. But like in basketball, there's a huge shift, especially, there was a top high school recruit this year, RJ Hampton, that's just playing in Australia for 1 year.
Someone else did that too, didn't
LaMelo is playing there, but he might not have been.
Didn't like Emmanuel Mudiay did it?
Emmanuel Mudiay played in China for 1 year.
Right.
But then like LaMelo is doing it, but like he might not have been eligible anyway. But like there's this big, culture of like going to play for 1 year in other
Hey, let me
countries.
make a couple $100,000, play 1 year out there, and then come
back, and you're still one of the top draft picks. You might be more ready because you've played against professional teams, which might be better than some of the teams you play in the NCAA going around the season.
Right.
well, look what Luka did.
Well, yeah,
And he
even
grew up
Luka,
there, and
yeah,
he's one
exactly.
of the best players in the league.
Yeah, instantly he stepped on the court and he was top 30 player in the league, and then he just got better throughout his rookie year. So it's just, insane to think that the NCAA is still trying to push back against this when they have so much to lose, especially in regards to basketball, but even football. So.
Yeah. Well, apparently the NCAA sent a letter to like the California state legislature, and we're like, there will be dire consequences. Like, what are you gonna do? Kill the program?
Right.
Like you like we all know the NCAA cannot afford to kill the programs at UCLA and USC
no way.
alone.
No way.
Let alone the 53 other NCAA schools that are in California. They can't afford that.
Can they? They have so much money.
I mean,
They could do one and
See,
people
I
would
bet
riot.
you. I bet you they were hoping this went through in like Utah. Like this is California, where you have Stanford, USC, Cal, UCLA. Like you have that's 4 right there. I'm sure the San Diego State's a pretty large school that like
Cal State Fullerton.
yeah, like you can't
Et cetera.
afford to lose those programs from your revenue because they're a couple, especially USC and UCLA. They're 2 of your top earners.
Yeah.
Which of those 4 schools would you like to go to the most?
Out of what? USC,
USC, UCLA, Cal Berkeley, and Stanford.
Stanford.
Get Stanford
UCLA.
out because I'd fail within a week.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, I didn't think about that.
I almost,
I could try. Like,
I almost want to get rid of academics in a way, but also like it is an important
Just-
part of the
Yeah,
equation.
that's fair.
Okay, well, I don't need like straight A's. I feel like I could just get by instead.
C's.
C's get
Smart.
degrees.
I will go to Stanford. Yes, I will go to Stanford.
I'm going to UCLA.
No, I'm going to Stanford.
I don't know. I just feel like there's this draw to UCLA.
Yeah, I think it'd be dope to go to school in LA.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think I'd go USC though because like I feel like I'm from Chicago and I didn't go to like UIC for a reason. Like I just feel like going to school down there would just stress me out. Like if I'm on a train and it stopped,
Right.
like I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
God no. Like,
That's
Yeah. I feel like Stanford would be cool. I feel like it's a little bit more laid back.
all right, we get it. You're a nerd.
No, I'm kind of with Alex, and I think I'd be more of a NorCal guy than a SoCal guy.
Yeah,
like I
fair.
think I like I'm not a beach or ocean goer.
I'm a huge beach guy.
But wait, I like beaches. Oh, wait.
All right, you're still. I'm pretty sure there's beaches by Stanford.
Okay, no, I'm gonna go to Stanford.
Really thinking about it.
All right, Google Maps helps out.
Okay, lake or ocean?
Lake for me.
Way better.
Yeah, lake.
Yeah. So
Lake
so
guy.
but your argument like beach like
The way he presented it, like I'm a big beach. I'm just a big on the water guy, but definitely lake.
lake over beach.
Yeah.
for sure.
top 5 beaches near Stanford.
Alex is planning
Alex
his
is gonna
grad school
transfer.
trip.
Right. Alex is transferring for his last semester.
No, you're about
Carmel Beach. I don't like Carmel, but
What do you think? What do you think? There's just rivers of caramel flowing through the sand. Like
then I'm going to Stanford.
best beach experience.
sandy caramel. That's what you want in your life, Nathan.
Right near.
not sandy.
Palo
I'll get it
Alto.
from the source. I'll get it from the source.
I mean, they got. I'll go to. They got beaches. That's fine.
I'll settle.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
Surprise!
Yeah.
Surprise!
If I want to go to LA, I'll take the drive down to LA or something like
That's
that.
a long drive. Yeah, it's got to be like a 6-hour drive.
No,
plus.
for real?
Plus, California's
We're
a long
learning a lot
state.
about geography
Alex
today.
does not know his California
Dude,
geography.
I've never been to California.
I haven't either.
Me
So,
either.
my-
Yeah, me neither.
my-
Oh no, I went one time.
San Diego's
As
cool.
young.
San Diego's a really cool city.
I gotta go for Comic Con, but yeah.
Would you dress up if you went? Like go crazy?
I mean,
I mean, like because anybody
think
could wear like a shirt.
Okay, dude, crazy and Alex don't go in the same sentence together.
yeah, no, no.
You'd wear like a Captain America shirt or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's fair.
I think that's all I do too.
Stanford to Los Angeles driving is 6 hours and 7 minutes.
Nailed it.
So long.
Nailed it.
And it's like all red, like going into
What about-
going into LA.
What about the
It's just
train?
all
That's so much
red.
traffic.
What
Train?
about the train?
Train? All right, all right.
Oh, that's got to be
Train.
at least.
Okay, but
Public
you know, I
transit?
could just knock out. Just take a nap.
yeah.
You can just take a nap. I don't gotta worry about driving.
Oh, this doesn't say train. This says megabus, then train.
Megabus.
Megabus.
Now you have to do that.
Well, I don't know what a megabus is.
You never seen a megabus?
No.
They go through Chicago all the time.
The
Yeah,
megabus.
they're always-
Like a double decker?
Oh, that's
Yeah, I
I
think-
hate when they're on the expressway.
Yeah, same.
It's the worst.
I didn't know they were. I always call them
What-
double decker buses.
What makes a bus mega?
Double decker.
Yeah.
No, I thought megabus. I thought like a megabus would just be like mega. It'd be like stupid big, like kind of fat. If a bus could be fat, that's what I think a megabus could be.
It'd be stupid.
Stupid big. Mega.
I don't think of a double decker when I hear megabus.
What? What was the sentence that just came out of your mouth?
Dude, you gotta put this clip on Twitter. This is gonna be great.
Oh, dude, Stanford's like right by San Francisco. Just go there.
Oh yeah, I'm going to Stanford. Forget about it, man.
Yeah, Stanford. Like,
And then I'm right by Oakland. Woo! Let's
yeah,
go.
dude, you're literally
True.
Dude, I'm
True.
going to
you're,
Stanford.
That's
you're right in the bay.
Transfer.
I'm going to Stanford.
You're right in the bay.
Let's go. All right,
California
I'm
is preposterously large.
Yeah.
I'm going to Stanford.
Do you think Stanford's a top? We're going so off the rails, but do you think Stanford's a top 5 university in America? Like if we're talking like Harvard, Yale, and then
Sure.
I mean, I think
don't
so.
know, man.
I don't know.
no.
I'd assume so.
See,
Wasn't it in those world rankings?
Illinois ranked number 12 in the best undergrad program.
Hey,
How many,
let's go.
how many
Today.
people do you think have turned off the program by now?
Well, I don't know.
Hopefully none, but
Yeah,
Was this what we were
I-
supposed to talk about?
this was Nathan's fun thing.
this was my
geography.
surprise.
Geography.
Jake bailed me out with some breaking news, and then I kind
you
of just
had
had some things to throw on the wall. Hey, don't expose me like that.
You exposed yourself. You said Jake saved me.
Yeah, true.
I just thought we were running with that.
I mean, yeah, Stanford's up there.
We have
Tommy would be so proud.
recruited Alex to go to Stanford.
Tommy would be so proud of this show right
No
now.
kidding.
Like I'm.
We're doing it for you, Tommy.
That's what we should. We should have had a guest for the last segment. We should have FaceTimed Tommy.
Yeah, I'm going to Stanford. Gosh,
right.
golly me, I'm going to Stanford.
Alex,
Gosh golly me, he said.
Alex,
Mama, I'm going to Stanford.
Alex is going to
Tell
Stanford.
everyone on the farm.
Alex is going to Stanford, and we are going to send you back to the music on WPGU 107.1.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for joining
You
us.
can make Google Maps like spin all out of control. It's weird.
check out our us every Monday through Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. You know, check out the Tuesday Thursday crew. You'll have Fisher, you'll have Jake, you'll have Alec, and you'll have our new full-time producer Gabby working tomorrow. So check it out as they preview Eastern Michigan and a ton of other
Wait, I'm here
things.
tomorrow?
No, I'm not here tomorrow.
No, I said I am.
You are.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He just learned it, and you just learned it as well.
I mean, you said you were gonna let me know, and so I guess that checks.
just
out.
let me close the show.
Never.
Thank you for listening. Alex, hit the music.